Hi friends, it's Prince from Delmi Solutions. So this morning we are in Barrie.
It's a brand new project that we have to recable about 226 cables for both data and voice and wireless access points. I got two team leads here. Prince is going to be leading all the technicians on the ground floor. Paminda is going to be leading all the technicians up on the upper level.
So I think first we'll start with planning how we need to pull the cables. We have a whole bunch of people with us. We'll separate in two teams. One goes in the second floor, one on the ground floor.
Yeah. So we're going to have two simultaneous or concurrent pulls that are going to be going on this project. But in the meantime, I'm going to be giving you up-to-date and step-by-step updates as to how the job is proceeding here on the job site.
Right now we are labeling our boxes and labeling the cables. So we staged the cables, all boxes of 24, and yeah, so we're going to start labeling.
So it's important to label cables because it's a hassle if you lose the cable at the other end, if the cables are mislabeled.
Yeah, so always pull in bundles of 24.
So now that the first part of the cabling work has been labeled properly, the boxes were staged, and once the staging was completed, they had to go through the labeling process, which means they have to number each and every box and then transfer that numbering onto the cables, and that was done by Christian and Marak on the first part. The next step, which is a very critical step, is to determine your path, the path to which you're going to be running your cables. And at this point, we're going to determine the path that is going to be. We also take into consideration the fact that this ceiling is going to be a solid ceiling. So if we do not choose our path carefully, when we come back to recable, we're going to be in big trouble. So once we choose our path, then we're going to have to string it. We're going to install a string, a twine, that is going to go from point A all the way to point B. So that next time when we come into cable, we are going to just attach our cables to the twine and pull it all the way there. So what I'm using here is a telescopic fish pole. It actually extends. So that's what I'm going to use through here. I'm going to go ahead and choose my path, and this is my path. I'm just going to rest it there and start extending it. And I start to extend it. Reason why I'm doing this is because I'm working with this insulation, and this fluffy stuff, it could get very itchy and uncomfortable. So thereby I'm using a telescopic, so I don't have to come in contact with too many of these fluffy stuff. So this extends pretty good, and I just keep going. See how good this thing is? All I have to now do is just grab my ladder, go all the way to the end, and just continue from there, and that's going to be my path. Right, so you can see it's pretty much very straight up. I'm going to grab my ladder and continue from here. And that's just how we're going to continue to go till we get to the end. Right, so this is just the steps we have to take when we are fishing. Now I just started. Within 30 seconds to a minute, I've been able to have my string, I'd say probably about 50 feet already. By using this telescopic pole, I'm able to work faster and much more efficient. So these are some of the tools as a technician you would need to have in your toolbox.
All right guys, so we fished the string through the beams, and now we tied the string to the cable, to the bundle of cable, and now we just started pulling the cables with the string. So it's like a two-person job. Someone has to feed the cable as someone pulls, and yeah.
And we're just going through the respective hatches so we know that the path is clear for when the building is done construction.
Yeah.
So part of the problem that we just did encounter right now is they had existing floor monuments here currently, and these floor monuments, apparently, instead of having them home run, there's a daisy chain. But we have 3/4 inch conduit, and we just realized that they've jammed 10 cables into them, and they're coming from somewhere. So far we've seen cables come here, and they are daisy chained there. and then to another location, and they just keep hopping all over the place. So this is a very challenging one, and it's a good thing that we have to identify where the cables are coming from before we can measure the right length. Without that, it's going to be a gamble. So obviously, we have to bring the cables here from wherever it's coming from, but we're still tracing it. We're working our way backwards. We've been able to identify that there were 2 cables there. We found 4 cables here. We found 6 cables here, and they're going to find, so hopefully 8 cables are there, but I know for sure that we have 10 cables coming into here. So these are part of the challenges you definitely encounter when you're doing a retrofit like this or a renovation job like that. It's always not going to be cut and dry. It's not going to be straightforward as you would want it to be, right? But these are some of the challenges. And as a network cabling technician, you have to be open-minded to anything. Anything could happen. But you don't give up, and you have to find ways around. And this is what we are just doing. So hopefully we've been able to trace. We have to find out where the conduit is going to start from, and that's where we're going to do our measurements from. So this is the other stage that we've gotten to, where we've pulled a bunch of the cables. Now we have close to 96 cables. We have 4 bundles of 24. That makes a 96, right? If I'm right. 96 cables that we have to take from here. These drops include voice and data. And as you see, we have bundled them individually in 24 bundles. And these cables, now we're taking the main trunk and doing it one time from here all the way into the server room. But we have to pull in such a way that we are very careful, because we've got a lot of insulation up here, and that requires that all 4 of us lift the cables carefully and pull them where it is. So I got Christian there, myself, I'm here, Prince is on that other side, and Mirak is the one lifting it up to feed it. So once we're able to get it to where Princess is, now most of the load of the cable, Christian will be able to sort it out, and then Mirak is going to go to the other end, and we'll start getting it all the way towards the server room. Most of the pulls have been done. On the ground floor, we started this morning. We have pulled 96 cables on the ground floor, and upstairs they have also pulled 72 cables. We're enjoying what we're doing. It's about 6:43. We've been doing 11 and 43 minutes. We get another 15-20 minutes. Once we get this to the location, then we call it a day until we're going to be back here. So that's what we've been able to achieve so far. Hard work pays off. See you on the next one.